Okay, Happy New Year! We're gonna watch some of Toronto Sun's uh, best and worst moments in the year 2025. Uh, well, for me, I visited Toronto at the beginning of December and I was shocked. I haven't been there for 3 years, and let me tell you, the amount of addicts, like drug addicts on the streets and the homeless people, and just the whole atmosphere of Toronto was shocking. Like in those 3 years, it went so much downhill. I couldn't believe that. But anyway, so my predictions to what happened in 2025, or as I remember it, right? Well, obviously, elbows up, Canadians got bamboozled, and now we're under crazy food inflation, and we're sending money left and right. And let's see what Toronto Sun has to say about it, and we'll see how long this video is gonna be. So the original is 2.5 minutes. Sorry, don't really care about baseball. Ooh. Delivered no shortage of heavy-hitting headlines. Well, here we have Mark Carney, right? The big guy in Brookfield, and now our Prime Minister, who promised us how we are gonna fight with US, how he's gonna give us trade deal. Do you remember right before election, one of the headlines was that he spoke with President Trump, and if he gets elected, he's gonna sign the trade deal pretty much instantly? Well, he did not do that, and now we have some trade deal with third world countries. I think he signed like 3 trade deals that are not lucrative for us at all, at least now, until those third world countries evolve into better countries. I don't even know how to say it. And before you start, yes, he signed some MOUs, like memorandums of understanding, with European Union. I think that was back in September. We didn't saw anything since then about it. It was about LNG, and I think Germany full on told him that they prefer LNG from US, but sure, they can get some from us. And since then, we didn't hear anything new. I don't think we have any new deal with European Union or trade deal. Yeah, that's unfair. They promised that they're gonna invest into few bridges over here. If I'm correct, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm not, but definitely wasn't anything big. What else? Yeah, so another huge thing that actually happened right before New Year's is the Liberal Party asked Canadians to chip in. It's not like we're paying almost 50% on taxes, right? We should chip in even more if we want to have a better future. Well, what's going on with the tax money? Glad you asked. That goes to Ukraine, Haiti, Gaza. And honestly, it sounds more and more like one huge scam, right? As a Christmas present for Ukraine, we gave them a loan, I guess, or just a gift present, who knows. $2.5 billion, which sounds even crazier because we gave it to them after it was exposed that there's a corruption in Ukraine. And it was also exposed that one of the close advisors of President Zelensky was one of the people taking the money, right? And there was another incident. So the anti-corruption unit in Ukraine wanted to storm parliament, or government, whatever. And President Zelensky said, no, he didn't let them in. He didn't let them investigate. Kind of obstruction to justice, right? But again, like, is it really justice when someone's kind of on the edge of being a dictator? But that's again, I'm not on side of the Russia, but it's funny that they started the whole invasion in 2022 with one of the arguments was corruption in Ukraine, and kind of proved to be right. But again, like, it was definitely unjustifiable. Like, there's no way to justify that invasion. There's no way to justify what Russia did. Obviously, we know who's bad. Kind of sounds like that other than Ukrainian people, there's no one good. Like, I feel for Ukrainian people, but unfortunately your government is, not the greatest either. But anyway, let's continue. Let's see what they're actually going to mention. Ooh. Trudeau steps down after he was called governor of Canada, right? So that was one of the first, 51st state jokes. I don't understand why liberals took it so seriously, but yeah. And we got the banker, Mark Carney, right? Everyone thought that it cannot get worse. Well, do you still think that? Oh, here we go. Push to make Canada 51st state. So Toronto's son is liberal now? What's going on with that? Like, there was no push. He was literally just joking about it. I don't know, like, looking at what's going on in Venezuela right now, do you really think Trump was pushing on us to become 51st state? Also, after the election, when Canada elected liberals, if I say nicely, do you really think he wants that in the US? Does he need another California, another New York? I don't think so. But to be fair, my personal opinion about 51st state is that now, after what happened in Venezuela, US will be very supportive of Alberta for independence, right? For Alberta to separate from the rest of Canada. And I would say that it's going to be kind of like a trial run to becoming 51st state. Because honestly, what do you think US wants from Canada? Alberta, Saskatchewan, maybe BC. The rest of Canada can go play whatever they play, curling, whatever, right? Elbows up. And, tariff threats. Well, first of all, how is it tariff threat when he followed up with action, right? We have tariffs, people lost their jobs. But again, let's not blame it on Trump, because I don't know if you remember, Mark Carney promised that he's gonna sign the trade deal once he gets elected. He did not do that. In June, there was a trade deal on the table during the G7 summit, but Mark Carney's government decided, hey, you know what, we want to renegotiate CUSMA, which US was like, we have a deal with CUSMA, we don't want to deal with that again. So, again, off the table. Second time, when they were negotiating again, Mark Carney decided that he's going to launch the digital service tax even after President Trump asked him if he can postpone it. So that was end of negotiations again. Then I think the third time was when Mark Carney acknowledged Palestine, that's literally rigged with terrorist organizations right now. He acknowledged them as a sovereign state, which, again, I'm not on the side of Israel. I'm not on the side of Palestine, but definitely doesn't sound like something that's in the best interest of Canadians to affect this trade deal negotiation with US because of Palestine. And speaking of Palestine, I don't know if you saw the countdown in Toronto. I don't know which news station that was, but it was two journalists, hosts, or whatever, and behind them, people waving Palestinian flags. I saw 3 Palestinian flags and 0 Canadians. Elbows up, eh? But we're still gonna blame Trump for everything. It's ridiculous. Oh, this was a big one. One of the saddest moments in the modern history, political commentator Charlie Kirk got assassinated. And it's crazy because I'm always gonna compare him to JFK because he was on the way to becoming president of the United States, right? My guess would be 2036, and they took it away from him. And even if he did not become president, all he did was debating students. He didn't push any laws that would hurt anyone, didn't make any orders, nothing. Literally was talking about politics and always was polite. Like, yes, he had his opinions, but he let you share your opinion, and then he was discussing with you why you don't agree. Pretty much, that's it. And what was even more shocking, right after Charlie was assassinated, the left wing people who belong to Asylum started celebrating it. And it's just so crazy to me, so evil. I was trying to think if there is anyone that I would celebrate the assassination. No, it's just so evil. I can't even imagine. Like, give me the worst dictator in the entire world. Am I gonna celebrate that he get assassinated? No, still a human being, right? I'm not gonna waste my energy to celebrate an assassination. Like, yeah, world would be safer place, but does that mean that I'm gonna make huge posts celebrating it? Or no, it was really crazy. Yeah, anyway, let's continue. No comment to this. That's yeah. Ooh, here we have one. Again, wildfires in Canada. I'm gonna mention this point again, probably multiple times. You know how much equipment to fight the fire we could have bought for $2.5 billion. You know, the money we sent to Ukraine, and that was just the latest money. During the summer when we had the fires, we sent, I think, $200-300 million to Ukraine. It's like, liberals, how do you pretend that you're acting in the best interest of Canadians? Like, we don't have enough manpower to fight the fires. We don't have enough equipment to fight the fires. And we don't maintain the forests, so it does not happen every year, because that costs money, right? And we can solve all of these 3 issues that I just mentioned with money. But what do we do with money? Send them to Ukraine, Haiti, Gaza. yeah, uh, don't know what more you want to hear. Epstein. Well, this was a big one as well, and it's probably gonna cost President Trump, or did it already cost? I'm not sure right now. The midterms, right? Because do you remember how Pam Bondi told us that she has an Epstein list on the table and she's going to release it? Then President Trump told us that there's no new files, no list. And look, they released it, and it's a lot of files. And what's even more ridiculous, they were pushed to release it, right? Because of legal stuff, like the court literally ordered them to do it. Well, they redacted so much that now there's going to be legal case against that again. And yeah, what did we saw in the Epstein files? Well, we saw Bill Clinton a lot, but no one's surprised about that. We saw Prince Andrew, or former Prince Andrew. Everyone was expecting that, right? It wasn't really surprise, because we literally saw it on the Netflix in 2020. And they tried to frame Michael Jackson when they had Michael Jackson with, I don't know, was it with Bill Clinton? And with 3 kids. And they redacted the faces of the kids, and later we found out that they were actually Michael Jackson's kids, which is ridiculous. I don't remember which news station did that, but yeah. Ooh, Toronto, okay. Don't know, don't care. This was stupid. I don't know anything about tow truck wars, but do you remember the issue with the home invasions pretty much all over Canada, and how the police officers from Ontario told us to just give them whatever they want, not to fight them, not to do anything. And right after that, they sent the 60 millions to Haiti, and again, we keep sending money to Ukraine, and yet we don't have enough manpower in the law enforcement to prevent the home invasions. You know what would help? Well, maybe the money we send to the foreign countries, but that's just my guess. Don't care. Okay, let's see. Ontario will cut off US electricity exports with a smile on my face, Ford says. Ooh, that's definitely gonna work well for Canada, or for Canadians, right? It's not gonna make stuff more expensive. It's not gonna delay the trade talks. No, definitely. It's not gonna be like Doug Ford's advertisement about tariffs. So listen to this. In Canada, in Ontario, Doug Ford ran the advertisement about the US, saying bad things about tariffs. And he used the speech from Ronald Reagan and edited it so it sounds like it's really bad. Obviously paid by taxpayers' money. But again, do you see the craziness of it? We live in Canada. We're gonna have advertisement for Americans in Canada, and the Canadians are paying for it. Well, yeah, that was strike number 4 for President Trump, and we didn't negotiate about the trade for a while again after that. And to be fair to Doug Ford, apparently Mark Carney knew about it before Doug put it online, right? Which is ridiculous. And Ontario government, or Doug Ford, or whoever, is gonna get sued for misinterpretation or misinformation because he edited the Ronald Reagan's speech. So again, more money coming from Canadian taxpayers' pocket towards stupid causes caused by liberals. I know Doug Ford's not liberal, but really, I don't think anyone considers him conservatives. Whoa, they skipped quite a lot. Like, no mention about home invasions, no mention about how we send more money to foreign governments instead of dealing with the same issues here in Canada. No mention about liberals asking us to chip in. Yeah, they skipped quite a lot of, I would say, negative stuff, but we need to remember that, right? That's what liberal government did. That's why we have a housing crisis. That's why we have a food inflation like crazy. They didn't even, I'm surprised about this because, you know, it was all over the media how Canadians are not going to US anymore, how they stay home and how it's gonna hurt US, how it's gonna take like $40 billion away from them, which is not really true, right? Because if they don't have Canadians, they're gonna have tourists from some other country, and maybe they even spend more. What was ridiculous about this article is that Canadians are probably, my guess, staying home because they can't afford to travel. And whose fault is that, right? So they skipped that. What else was there? Well, they didn't mention that they put the Palestinian flag on the town hall or city hall in Toronto. Obviously, they didn't mention anything about trade talks because they would go back against liberals. Yeah, I'm sorry if I kind of ruined it for you. I know I was a little bit negative about this 2025 headlines I brought, not Toronto Sun, but me. But it's important to remember what liberals did to us in order for it not to happen again, right? That's why we still talk about Holocaust. Obviously, it's not the same thing, but like that's why we talk about Holocaust, communism, just to make sure that everyone remembers that we need to shut it down as soon as possible. So yeah, hopefully year 2026 is going to be better. I don't know, I feel like we need someone new in politics. Like, yes, Pierre Poilievre would definitely be a better prime minister than Mark Carney. But to be honest, his ties to Israel, I'm kind of afraid if we would go the same way like US, or if we would stay more neutral. That's one of the questions I would have Pierre Poilievre, and honestly, that's just the only issue I have with him. Anyway, thanks for watching, and again, Happy New Year.